this broken campaign promise with the war and going all in with the Israelis is Dan Bilzerian is coming, if you know what I mean. If you've been watching him.
Huge fan.
I predict that we will have to have a world war sometime between now and 2032.
I mean,
That's 9/11 was an inside job done by the Mossad. So
the Nazi regime frequently used real failed attempts as propaganda to portray him as a divinely protected leader.
Trump said that Iran is in a state of collapse, which makes me think that they're not in a state of collapse.
the two things, one of this, John, you're gonna love. One of these you're gonna love because I'm gonna talk about Navy SEALs getting hard. So
Whether you call it a Christian nation or not, you still have to be tolerant of and accepting of other people in your society.
I respected the fact that the president, when he was running as a former president for re-election, promised no new wars, right?
also that his family can get out of its own financial bankruptcy while cementing its own moral bankruptcy for all eternity. Fuck the fucking Trump family. Can't wait for them to be out of the fucking White House.
All right, simmer down now. All right. Who's
Keep
next?
keep going. This is great.
Hey everybody, this is John Koenig back for Real Veteran News 55. I'm here with three good ex-military veteran friends to discuss the topics for this week. This week we've got Charles Sears, who hasn't been on in a while, Army veteran, Robin Byro, Army Ranger veteran, same time as me, and Mason Blue, Air Force Academy, Air Force officer type veteran. So if you guys like to introduce yourselves a little bit more in that order, please.
Yeah, I've done it a little bit. So I did 11 years in the Army as a IT specialist, and then I did 5 years law enforcement as a deputy sheriff. I've written a few books, particularly on human psychology and solving the hard problem of consciousness, which was kind of neat this year. I was invited to the international conference for the Association of Scientific Study of Consciousness to speak. So I thought that was kind of cool based on some work I did. Yeah, so it's kind of fun. I own and run a marketing agency that I've owned for about 6 years now. And I work with AI every day and have for about the last 5 years. So,
All right, Robin Byro, Army Ranger vet, 75th Ranger Regiment at Benning. I was in for 10 years before I got medically discharged, a couple tours of Afghanistan. Before that, though, I was Barack Obama's, one of his campaign managers, which is why now I'm a Democratic talking head on conservative media, giving the Democratic counterpoint. 6 days a week, 2 to 3 times a day, mostly Newsmax and Fox News, all that kind of thing. And I've got single dad of 2 kids holding it down here still in Georgia.
brave man.
Mason Blue, and like John said, I'm an Air Force type. Went to the Academy, 05. I spent my time in the Air Force as a 33 Sierra, which is a communications officer. Then I did 6 years contracting at an agency called JIDO, the Joint Improvised Explosive Device Defeat Organization. And we just kind of exported really cool products to solve some pretty complex engineering problems and protect lives on the battlefield. It's kind of a lot of fun, and I'm glad I got to be a part of that organization. Let's see. Now I'm a tech entrepreneur and just general nerd, and creating products and overall doing tech disruption. And I aspire every day to insult a politician.
Love it.
There we go.
All right, cool. Nice having you guys on. Thanks for the introduction. Jeez. Sorry.
You right there, John?
The ambulance is
They're coming for him.
It's an ambulance.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Well, actually, that's more fitting for a veteran. Like, we don't really have issues with law enforcement. We just all have, like, our health is fucked.
Yeah, come pick me up after I kill myself because my wife took my kids away.
Oh.
So
Hey, you just got demonetized for that.
Demonetized. Yep.
You told us to be careful, and now he's like, boom.
Just drop it right on the bat.
all right, all good. Good having you guys. Okay, so we took the week off last week. I had some tech work that I had to do, but we're going to keep it going, try to keep the consistency up. I think it's really important that we get on talking about the important issues that we have these days because a lot of military conflict happening, and it's just like one wrong move or one weird situation that happens in Iran or in Russia, China, and we're going to end up in World War 11. We got to be really careful.
I had a World War 11 joke, and I can't do it now.
Yeah, it's like your World War 11 joke. Are you guys familiar with the World War 11 reference here?
Nope.
What? Ilhan Omar doesn't understand Roman numerals, and so in a press conference, when somebody wrote World War II, she wrote like a full Ron Burgundy
Oh
moment.
no, of course. Oh gosh.
The last time the Alien Enemies Act was invoked, it was used to detain and deport German, Japanese, Italian immigrants during World War XI.
It's World War 11, boys.
Let's go.
I'm surprised I haven't had to answer to that on Newsmax.
I'm surprised.
Well, they're
both
probably
of
trying
you-
to bury it because they don't want their
Right.
Democrat to look bad. They don't want people to know the truth of their stupid freaking puppet candidates.
The liberals are supposed to be the educated ones, so I can't have that spreading.
Yeah, I think it's obviously a symptom that she wasn't educated in America. I personally, I understand people misspeak, and I've tried to defend her. You know, people always like shit on her for, you know, on the show, like Matt and everyone. And it's like I try to like give some like counterpoint on that. If you're just a regular civilian and you're like, oh, World War 11, you're like, oopsie, whatever, but congressperson, I was thinking about it because I wanted to make that joke. And it's like, I just don't understand at this point why immigrants are allowed to run for office. You know what I mean? I think you should have to be American born. We have that rule for the president. There's no immigrant coming to this country that is going to be like the great. All the politicians are pieces of shit anyway. It's not like we're like hurt for people who want to be politicians. I don't really know. I mean, if they want to work in the State Department or stuff, okay. I mean, I think they bring things to the table. If you weren't born here, you weren't educated here, you didn't grow up around American children and live American life when you were young, I don't think you should be representing anybody. I think voting, they get vote, that's fair, but we don't let them run for president. I don't personally see why they should be running for any public office personally. What do you guys think?
Mass mobility is a new thing. The founding fathers definitely didn't anticipate the ability to fly across the ocean, right? So the fact that you can settle an entire Somali community of 80,000 people and forcibly put in one candidate and abuse our voter laws, just exactly how Ilhan Omar was put in place. Yeah, they didn't anticipate that. So I agree with you, John.
Well, I'm really glad I don't have to debate you on Newsmax because normally they pair me up with dumbasses, but I'd hate for someone intelligent to have to say something like that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You know, I think and I'm obviously not as educated as some of you guys on that stuff, but I think that the House is meant to represent the people, a specific sect of people. And so if there's a group of people that want to be or have the right to be represented in the House, then whoever they vote, you know, as long as it's within the confines of the current, you know, what currently exists, I'm fine with it. Elon doesn't have that much voting power. She has one vote. I'm not super concerned about it. And she continues to prove what an idiot she is. So to the rest of the country, which, you know, is the quiet majority, I think.
She's given him basically 1/500th of our federal power. She doesn't
Yeah,
have
well-
one vote. She has one conglomerated vote of the conglomeration of the entire nation.
It's a lot more power than that. I mean, just being in the mix in there in DC, I understand the representation thing. I don't think anyone in the history of this country expected immigrants from one place to all congregate in one sector of the country and then try to get in. You know, it's just like with the birthplace tourism and stuff like that, where the Chinese women come over here and they get the kid and they get the American passport and they fly straight back to China just so the kid can apply to American college. Like, there are these loopholes in our system that don't make sense anymore. Like, maybe it was okay back in the day. I think she's just a good example of that. I don't think we have that many like actual immigrants in Congress anyway. I don't, you know, if you come here, you know, voting, okay, because you live here, you pay taxes, but like participating in politics at that high of a level, I personally don't get it.
I think at any level, you have a state representative. I don't know the details, but if you look at the state manipulations, and we've talked about this in the past, of China is legitimately manipulating state and local elections because that's where the money is. And when you look at the fact that in Virginia right now, the two key pieces of legislation that I've heard about from memes are that there's a immigrant from Bangladesh who's making it illegal to carry arms in Virginia. So it's an illegal immigrant, basically a piece of shit from Bangladesh is throwing American citizens in jail. Fuck that guy. Throw him out of this country as fast as fucking possible. Sorry for getting you demonetized. That'll be number one. And then the other one is Virginia wants to give up its citizens' sovereignty and just go ahead and say, instead of allowing the citizens to vote, Virginia's going to go ahead and follow the popular vote of the country, which just basically says you're going to allow the full manipulation of AI and foreign interest to determine your elections and give up your entire sovereignty. It's the stupidest people on earth. And you can see it's the exact intervention of the Soros family.
Okay. All right. Well, we've gotten our opinions out. I think Robin's going to have to turn up the liberal cuck dial a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
for
yeah.
the
I
next.
will. I will. I got you. I was absorbing.
You've got one job, Robin.
Robin,
I
I
was
hate Republicans
absorbing.
too, by the way.
I know. I'm well aware. I love it.
Generally, I would like, for me, it doesn't matter. Even if they were born in America, so it might be a little bit extreme, but it's like if you write a law and then it gets passed and then you get sued and it gets taken to the Supreme Court and they find that you have subjected to American citizens to laws that were unconstitutional, then in my opinion, whether you were born in America or not, you should suffer the consequences for every single citizen that you impacted with that unconstitutional law. So it might even be a step further than whether or not they were born here.
So what should the punishment be for Barack Obama forcing every American to buy insurance?
Yeah, I think you generally get the idea of where I'm going with that. But yeah,
I guess Barack Obama should be forced to buy something he doesn't want to buy and go bankrupt doing it.
Let
can
me
you
put my
achieve?
lefty hat on. Give me
Okay,
your poor, your tired, your huddled masses yearning to be free. We're the land of opportunity that includes running for office. That's what I got.
Does it? World War 11. World War 11. Like my grandfathers fought in World War II.
Robin proves he is a liberal because he comes back with just feelings and emotion, hopes and dreams, and nothing of substance or value.
There you go.
Okay, all right.
I had my marching orders.
We're going to talk about White House correspondent dinner shooting, touch back with Iran and AI.
One last thing on Ilhan Omar, if you don't mind. My favorite thing about Ilhan Omar is it demonstrates the hypocrisy of the left. If you look at just a picture of Ilhan Omar, Miss No Kings herself, then look at a picture of how her eyes glowed when she saw the King of England visit America. All you can say is nothing that woman says has any value or virtue or honesty or integrity.
I don't know. King Charles kind of brought it. He brought the fire, man. I was kind of impressed with that speech.
It's funny that you Democrats about your no kings give a king,
I know,
literal king, a standing ovation. You guys you really need some better PR.
It's because he brought the fire and said, that we got to do better, and they were there supporting us for 9/11, and that we've got to support Ukraine. I mean, that's
9/11 was an inside job done by the Mossad. So,
from my understanding, the royalty in the UK is mostly all show and has no authority or power anyway, and so they're all talking heads. So when they come and they deliver the fire, I think it aligns with the idea that, like, well, of course, that's what Democrats prefer. They prefer people like Nancy Pelosi who talk out both sides of her mouth, saying one thing meaning a completely different thing. So they're not savvy to that kind of rhetoric. It's like, oh, that sounds really good. It makes me feel so good inside, but there's no second order or third order consequences being considered whenever someone's talking.
All right, White House correspondents dinner shooting happened last Saturday night.
God, it seems like a month already.
Yeah, we can, it's been a little while, but we want to cover it here. So just the facts of it are the perpetrator, Cole Thomas Allen, 31, came from Los Angeles. He felt like he had a duty to target Trump, but not Kash Patel for some reason, which I don't know. I don't understand. Is at the Washington Hilton. He was armed with a shotgun, handgun, and knives. They say he was a borderline genius, although he did mechanical engineering, masters of computer science at good schools. He probably has a high brain power. As we're in the military, you have people that are like book smart, but they can't load a machine gun. They don't know what to do in certain situations. Like, they're not operationally smart, right? So this guy rented a hotel room, went down a stairwell to get down to the area, waited till the thing started. He was popping through a door. So this new video came out and it looks like a Secret Service dude with a K9, and he's talking to someone in the door. They think it's the guy. The guy's holding a shotgun and like all his shit. Probably looks super weird. The guy's talking with him, pulls the dog away, walks the other direction, and then that's when he bolts in. Nobody's paying attention. Bunch of police around. One cop pulls his gun out, shoots at him like 5, 6, 7 times, misses every single shot, even though he was 5 feet away. And then he tripped on his own feet, and I guess they tackled him at that point. So he wasn't even like really stopped. Everyone's saying that if he just shot up like the pre-party dinner, he would have been a lot more successful. Shotgun is obviously not the weapon that you would want to use for this. You'd want to use like a rifle. I don't know why he went with a shotgun. I mean, it's pretty hard to work a shotgun, especially in like a tactical situation. Secret Service, police, security there, pretty much dog shit. And this guy
Yes.
didn't plan his shit very well. So I guess it's like a lucky situation that he didn't have better planning and actually figure out how to hurt anybody.
Let me say what you're right. He had his manifesto. I read it. Unfortunately, it was read on air on TV, which I really don't like. He aired grievances, and he said basically that he was taking his upper. He saw a break in security and thought that it was unbelievable that he was able to book the hotel room and get in there, and that there really was not much security for guests of the hotel itself. So it seems like there's a security break. I know that there was live a hot mic of a Fox News host himself saying, holy crap, it's like there's two women who work for the hotel who are manning the door here. They may as well have just put a doorstop out there. There's like, where is Secret Service? So it seems like we've got a breakdown. I mean, I'll just say that there should have been maximum security for this. The fact that they let down the requirements for security while we had the vice president and president in the same room, I just blows my mind. To me, it looked incompetent, not just of the people who were tasked with keeping them safe, but honestly, of the administration. I wouldn't have put the vice president and president together in the same room at an event with reduced security. That's just my hot take.
Man, I worked in law enforcement for 5 years, and during that time, President Trump actually did come to Bakersfield and had, there was an event. I can't remember if it was during his campaign or after, but typically when the president or big elected official comes into town and they need additional security, they bring in like the special operations group, the SWAT team. These guys are helping Secret Service. Like local law enforcement is doing way more interactions per year than these Secret Service guys are. And so it's surprising to me was watching that video. It's like, okay, one, they're calling this guy a genius. And it's like, well, I mean, define genius then, because anybody who is planning on taking on the president or taking out, going to and trying to attack where this person is, then a genius, it seems to me like they would be planning, they would be practicing, they would have taken the classes they need, they would have had a much better strategy than I'm just going to blow through as fast as I can, shoot one officer, and then trip over my own shoe. Like I wouldn't call that a genius for one. I did not read his manifesto. Whenever I worked in law enforcement, one of the most annoying things to me was that I would watch hundreds of people get arrested and come into the jail for the most heinous things you could possibly think of, decapitating children and doing all sorts of horrible things. Then I would go home and I would talk to, every Joe Blow, and they'd have no idea that all of these things were happening in their community. And so I think public awareness of what total pieces of shit these human beings are and how nuts they are is the best thing that we could do, so that we can educate people on, what's actually out there. The real stats are that about 1 to 2 people out of 10 that you meet are normal. Everyone else has got some weird thing going on, some sort of mental illness or issue so you don't actually meet that many normal people. And he's probably just another one of many people on both sides of the aisle that would be willing to do something like that.
All right, Mason. What you got?
Let's hear it, Mason.
Conspiracy theory.
I agree with you, Robin, in almost every way. And I especially like the fact that they need to do better security. Yeah, like the one Secret Service agent, it might have been the guy that got shot, so maybe I need to judge myself differently. But I saw, like, as he ran in, like one Secret Service agent seemed to jump backwards. Maybe he got shot, and that's why he was jumping backwards. And so I talked some shit about that guy, and I might have been completely 100% wrong. So I don't know if he's the guy that got shot. I would also like to say, Charles, I talk a lot of shit about cops from time to time, but I have my reasoning. So thanks for doing what you do. And I agree that there's a lot of shit out there. And I try and be a pro-police activist, but I also try and keep you guys honest about the fact that y'all fuck up a lot of shit too. But so does everybody.
If it makes you feel any better, the guy that taught me how to be a cop got arrested 2 years later for selling dope to drug dealers. So we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
There's bad elements of every community. One of the things that, as a veteran, we talk about, like, it's amazing that people don't understand how shitty and evil the world is. And it's crazy. So let's get some highlight reel Bo Jackson bullshit kind of moments going. So I would say, first of all, there's two sides of this. One, the false flag versus the real side, and I want to look at both of them. First, let's go ahead and say that it was a real assassination attempt. Obviously, all the stuff coming out seems to be bullshit about him being a genius. Well, as you mentioned, he didn't plan it. He apparently just had a shotgun handy in his hand and then saw a security vulnerability and tried to exploit it. I'm sorry, with all the DC gun laws, that seems quite unlikely and implausible. And then he went on vacation had a manifesto handy and then suddenly saw this security vulnerability and tried to exploit it? How did he get here from California with these weapons? I don't know how that's going to work out. I'd like to see how the ballistics of all these bullets play out. You said one officer fired 5 rounds. Seems actually reasonable. But I'd like to see, is it seem like a spray and pray, or was it a reasonable bullet pattern? I don't know.
He missed every shot, Mason. Did you
Right.
see this video?
But
Yeah,
was it
It's with handguns, it's super difficult. Just
yeah, but I would like to
yeah.
know, like, was it like, I just would like to see an analysis of somebody better than me of the shots being fired and whether, again, it seemed like a logical thing, or if it was after the fact, somebody firing to be able to say that they fired some
ground.
rounds.
All into
Yeah,
the ground.
that's kind of what I'm trying to say. Is it a real shot, or was it like an absolute bullshit just so they could have shots fired? And that transitions to the fact that, again, I think this is a false flag for a lot of reasons. I've heard that Usha Vance has been in a video with this dude in the past, so it seems like a CIA plant. There are photos online of this guy in an IDF shirt, Israeli Defense Force shirt, so it seems like a plant. Again, when you look at the security vulnerabilities that Robin pointed out, the fact that JD Vance's security team was pulling him out before Trump's team was pulling him out, either JD Vance's team is shit hot and Trump's team is really bad and they need to fire them all, or Trump's team knew it was coming and they weren't afraid. Again, one guy was just going to go full CQB and just fucking Rambo the shit out of an entire security forces detail and everybody else that was in there with a shotgun and a knife. Definitely not a genius. And then the final thing, just to flip the script, the last thought of it might actually be legitimate, because there are some crazy fucking idiots out there who actually have played enough video games that think they can actually pull off some Call of Duty bullshit. I think it could possibly be legitimate, and it's not because of anything at the scene of the crime. It's because if you look at our beautiful neighbors to the south, our Mexican president had 31 assassinations that were successful in order to be elected, and it's no shock to think that as we lose the demographic integrity, I guess, of America, due to our lax open borders, that same level of violence will move to America.
I got a question for the panel. How many assassination attempts did President Barack Obama have? Or not just attempts, but plots?
I think 0 that I know of.
Probably infinity, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was there, actually, and I forgot about the one that was on the National Mall during his second inauguration. There were apparently 11. For whatever reason, I completely blocked that out and don't remember that. And I was, like I said, I was there for one of them when that crazy guy climbed up in the tree with a shotgun during the second inauguration.
And they just don't tell you. You just like that never makes the news. No one's ever made aware that these things, because what we want is, or at least what the powers that be, the people in charge, want is just peace, and they want everyone to think that this is the perfect society. And maybe there's value to that, right? Maybe you don't want your neighbors operating in fight or flight constantly, but I think once you learn how shitty people can be and how crazy they can be, then you can start positioning yourself better. What do they say? An armed society is a polite society. I'm very, very nice to people out in public. But we had a saying, which was have a smile on your face and a plan to kill everyone you meet.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mason will fall for these like AI videos and photoshopped shit. Like, send that shit straight to Mason and you're gonna get a follower. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Usha Vance was not in a video with him.
I saw an Instagram post about it. Maybe it's
bet you did.
Real.
I bet you saw an Instagram post about it. And that I saw the IDF one too. Obviously Photoshop. Like, dude is not wearing an IDF sweatshirt.
Okay. But the videos I sent you, John, are real. The ones I sent you of Levitt saying that about there will be shots fired tonight. Now, granted, it was just rhetoric, right? Just like Mason said, but she really did say that. She's got to watch that shit. And then the hot mic moment from the Fox News analyst who was there talking about the breakdown in security, that was real too. It's getting more difficult to tell what's fake and what's real.
It's terrifying.
Not for Mason, everything's real.
No, I think you have to give everything a little bit of validity, because how can you know?
At least consideration.
Look at this dude's profile. He's a Southern California, probably so a little bit radicalized, went to engineering school, so probably in debt. There's just a lot of ways for this person to be a very perfect false flag. Sorry. But then I gave both sides of the coin. I in my analysis, I gave validity to both sides.
In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, there was rhetoric going around that he was Muslim, that he was a registered Republican, that he was a registered Democrat. I've checked on FEC.gov, he had one $25 donation through Act Blue to the Harris Walls campaign. Just one, but that's enough for me to kind of ascertain his political leanings.
You think that this guy was a plant by the administration or at least it's a high possibility or probability that this guy was a plant to make it look like Trump is having way more assassination attempts, like to gain like pity, sympathy from the public.
Asking me, I would say there's a 30% chance that it was a false flag and a 70% chance that it was an actual shooter that was trying to Sirhan the shit out of it, right? So like on the note of it's implausible that this guy's going to do that. I think Sirhan, that's the guy who killed RFK, right? Just was waiting for him as he walked through the kitchen and shot him. So it's quite plausible, 30% chance that it's false flag, 70% chance that it was a legitimate shooter.
I could see them relaxing maybe the outer perimeter of security because, if you're talking false flag stuff, let's just go there for a second. If you relax the outer perimeter and he got in there, it's a fact that Trump was down in the polls right now. And other politicians have certainly done this when they're down in the polls. He was obviously safe. It was even on a different floor. I'm glad that they evacuated the dinner. I know that President Trump called for the dinner to go on, but and we all saw the video, right, of the dude sitting there eating the salad like, man, fuck this. I'm going to keep on eating this. John Fetterman was like, where's the ziti, man?
Look, the science is this. The science is it takes 1.5 seconds for you to respond to anything new that you weren't expecting. It's 0.75 seconds for the brain to recognize and understand what's happening, and then it takes another 0.75 seconds for your body to actually start moving and get to the action that you're trying to do. So that was from California Post training. That's not just me making up random bullshit. And so all of those cops there, whatever agency they were from, guy walks in, deals with the first guy. He doesn't know what to do. They've been there. I don't know how long they were sitting in that foyer waiting for, maybe everyone had come through, and it's like, okay, yeah, I've done that. I used to guard the courthouse. And once the morning rush comes through, okay, time to like sit down, eat a snack, but or whatever. But as soon as someone comes through that door again, your ears should perk up, your eyes should perk up, and you're not hand on gun, right? That makes everybody real nervous. It's not unreasonable to think that he got that far. It's not unreasonable just from my own personal experience being both law enforcement and expert shooter with a handgun or an instructor as well. This guy fires 5 shots at a target running full speed. Him missing, that I would expect that, to be honest, based on how long it takes to react. He was probably so far away at that point that, yeah. And also, I don't know where the event was happening, which direction, but if that officer was drawing his gun and pointing in the direction, knowing that that's where the event was happening, he's got a lot to think about, because if those bullets go through the wall and hit someone else, then he also has to account for that.
He obviously wasn't thinking about that because he just started
unloading.
Open fire.
Yeah.
Did they reassign the dude from Minneapolis that shot the chick in the car to protect Trump? Is that what happened? Sorry.
I don't know, but yeah.
And on the note of John, there were some AI videos I didn't believe, and those were the ones where it was like Lindsey Graham sitting on top of the shooter. I was like, probably AI.
That's probably not real.
All right, John. Since you've tasked me with, bringing the left loves to make comparisons to Hitler, right? So the Nazi regime frequently used real failed attempts as propaganda to portray him as a divinely protected leader. There were 42 assassination attempts on Adolf Hitler, and they were done when he was needing political expediency and to coalesce and have it appear that he was divinely protected. And that's what people on the far left are saying. But I'm seeing it not just from people on the far left. I'm seeing it from some of my friends who seem like sane people. And in the immediate aftermath, I definitely saw a lot of my friends on the left saying that, this is just another fake attempt. I would push back on that. I think this was a real one. But like Mason said, maybe they relaxed the outer layer of security to have it be penetrated and gain sympathy from it. I mean, it's possible, who knows, but I hate to be sounding like that kind of guy, but something was really funky about this.
The midterms are coming up, right?
I would like to ask one question, Charles. You cited in your answer that you said that 80% of individuals have mental disabilities of some kind or some sort of an issue. Now, I love numbers and I hate science. And I especially hate science of politics and science of DOJ type stuff. I want to smash this number. What my question for you is, in your opinion, so 20% of people, like legit, like you have no risk of them whatsoever, I guess, as a police officer, and they're going to be hunky-dory like Disney princesses skipping around, and they're going to be singing with some raccoons, and you don't worry about them. The other 80%, how bad are some of these mental issues? Like, I'm guessing some of them are they a mental issue, or is it just somebody said that they were on the spectrum once? I would like to define what this 80% of at-risk individuals are, because if you look at 80% of the population as at risk, you're basically saying that everybody's at risk if you're a police officer at that point.
Let me clarify. When I say 2 out of 10 people are going to be normal, that's coming from the psychology side of the house. And so if you like go start looking into the stats on what the overall psychological community is saying, then that's kind of how it pans out. Now, from a law enforcement perspective, that was from my own personal experience, anecdotal experience, and seeing like, okay, well, when I walk into a room, just based on what I saw over 5 years, so I tell people it's 10,000 hours to become an expert, right? I was a law enforcement officer for 5 years. That's your 10,000 hours. In my experience, when I walk into a room, if I see 10 guys, the way that my mind maps it is one of these guys is a child molester, two, probably at least three of them, including that one,
10% are pedos?
yeah.
Jesus, that's sick.
That's
Sorry,
how
thank you.
I'm at. And it's way more than you would ever want to imagine. And if they're not actually touching kids, then they're looking at child porn, or they're obsessed with. When you get into the psychology of it, it really, all of a sudden you understand. But yeah, 3 out of the 10, including that one, have some sort of sexual or predatory issue. A few of them are beating their wives. A few of them are thieves. Like 2 to 3 of them are thieves, liars, cheats. And you're really getting 1 or 2 of those 10 that probably abide by some sort of principle, value system, and do their best to try and be what our American image is of what is normal.
Well, Charles, what if you cheat at video games?
Yeah, you're for sure inside the 8.
Okay, great. Let's talk about Iran now. I checked this morning, oil is $108 a barrel. Trump said that Iran is in a state of collapse, which makes me think that they're not in a state of collapse. Hegseth testified this week. The naval blockade is still in effect. Got some action in Lebanon, and there's the new defense budget that came out that is pumping a ton of money into drones.
I loved all the bullshit about Iran right now because Trump is displaying why we exactly need to restrict all powers of the presidency. He says we're not at war. How the fuck not? We used military action in Iran. That is war. By legal definition, we, I believe, killed people. And now we're trying to completely destroy their entire economy. And I believe we have a thing called a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, which my understanding is internationally recognized as an act of war. So just because you say we're not at war anymore doesn't mean we're not at war when you start the fucking war in the first place. So that's number one. Number two, I really appreciated your articles in this because you highlighted Lebanon. And my current belief, again, I always think that there's something else going on. Well, I don't know why we're not reporting on Lebanon at all in most of the media right now. And it's because there's a genocide going on there. The Israelis have finished mopping up in Gaza, and now they're going to move back to Lebanon. And if you study history, you can look at the fact that Reagan got America involved in the Middle East by using America as peacekeepers to suppress the local population the first time the Israelis committed genocide in Lebanon in the 1980s. And they're just doing the same thing again right now with the Lebanese already being weakened. And their entire villages of not just Muslims, but Christians as well, being completely genocided and massacred. There was a bishop that was killed in Lebanon just this last weekend. It is a global problem. You can't just say, oh, it's Muslims being whatever. You can't press this on anything else other than just Israeli genocide. And again, that's the other thing that's happening at this time. I love the fact that you mentioned oil price. And you can kind of see how Trump as a businessman is unfit for command in this case. And what I will say, again, I voted for him, but he's demonstrating that he's unfit for command. And I just hope that his family doesn't ever get reelected.
I appreciate it.
One of the things he says is that Iran is going to collapse, which is absolutely fucking stupid. It just shows that he's a billionaire diva bitch. I'm sorry that the guy's never lived on this, never not had electricity. But I have a feeling that most of the Iranian people are going to be just fine not having electricity for a couple of weeks. And even if they aren't, the Iranian government isn't going to fuck about their opinion, right? So they're going to let them suffer. It's not going to be a big deal. As you mentioned, the price of oil is $108, you said this morning. I looked, it was $112 yesterday. But what's more important is during Operation Midnight Hammer, when we first started the war with Iran, when we struck their nuclear weapon sites, the price per barrel was $70 per barrel of oil. So that's almost doubled. So all he's done is strategically position his family in the oil industry, then deliberately drive up prices to fuck over the entire world. Also that his family can get out of its own financial bankruptcy while cementing its own moral bankruptcy for all eternity. Fuck the fucking Trump family. Can't wait for them to be out of the fucking White House.
All right, simmer down now. All right. Who's
keep
next?
Keep going.
No, the final thought is, if you don't mind, the two things, one of this, John, you're going to love. One of these you're going to love because I'm going to talk about Navy SEALs getting hard.
What?
So the thing that I'm going to finally cite is...
Don't they stay hard?
globalization, this is what people are going to realize is oil is an input to almost every single global commodity. So the long-term impacts of this on the economy are going to be just massive. We have not felt the shock to the economy of this war yet. It will not occur for another 6 months. And when you tie into that the fact that the Federal Reserve is keeping rates at 4%, the entire U.S. economy is going to really have some trouble. It's only going to be solved by the Federal Reserve printing massive amounts of money and giving it to their oligarchical friends, though. Anyways, final thought on Navy SEALs getting hard. John, finally, Navy SEALs have the mission that they were designated for. And thanks to Donald Trump of mining the Strait of Hormuz and setting back global commerce for all time, finally we have a legitimate tariff. Because with the destruction of the global sea routes, maybe production will move back to America because it's actually cheaper than demining the entire Strait of Hormuz. Because guess what? Jocko Willink and all those Navy SEALs are rock hard because for the next 10 years, they know they're going to be in the Strait just swimming around demining shit. And that's their original mission.
I'm pretty sure they have other people to do that. All right.
Woo, that was really good. That's good shit.
Follow that.
Dude, take a deep breath, Mason. All right.
Charles,
I like to hear what
Yeah.
Charles thinks next, but quick before that, I'd just like to get everyone raise their hands.
The Bo Jackson of bullshit.
Do each of us personally think that Iran can wait this out until the midterms, kind of like Putin did and stuff like that, or versus us having the ability to apply enough pressure that they essentially capitulate to demands? I personally think they can wait this out and we can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, they'll wait it out. Yeah. Just if Ukraine, I thought Ukraine would be over in 2 weeks, and here we are years later. So
yeah, okay. Charles, what do you think?
These people, I mean, I've never been to Iran, so one, but two,
Shocker.
Shocker, right? But seeing the conditions that these people live in, well, I do work with people overseas. I've worked with people in Pakistan and India and Bangladesh, and seeing how these people live overseas makes me think that they're a lot tougher than your average American citizen, at least the ones that I see living out in California. So as far as their ability to hold out when you don't have, what do we say in the Army? Is we've been doing so much with so little for so long that now we can do anything with nothing. And I think that that's probably true of a lot of these folks overseas. I look at the war a little bit different. I work in AI and working on making more capable AI systems all the time. And the way that I view this is I predict that we will have to have a world war sometime between now and 2032. So I think that it's inevitable because of the massive economic changes that are coming to the world. I don't look at this as whether it's one person's intent and we don't understand or they're hiding behind some mask is irrelevant to me, because I think it's all part of a feedback system that's going to have to happen. It's going to implode anyway. So if Iran is the thing that starts the war, if it's the first shot heard around the world, or if it's China, or if it's Ukraine that ultimately led us into this with Russia and China, it's going to happen, in my opinion, and there will be boots on the ground. I think this will be leading into our first real large war using the AI technology, and then we'll see some kind of new version of the world after that.
It's not that long ago since I got out, so I still have some friends who are in the service of varying ranks. I'll tell you that I've had a few get deployed recently overseas. They're not saying where. They're telling me that they're scared shitless, and I wasn't. I was excited when I had my deployments, but they say that they're scared shitless because they don't know what to believe from the president's mouth, because he's giving conflicting information. They're getting conflicting reports from the media, and they really don't know exactly what's going to happen. I was just kind of surprised that I sensed fear from them, and they were messaging on WhatsApp while they were overseas. Just scared shitless. I don't like that. I don't like that our troops are apparently getting crappy rations of food. We saw that, right? That's bullshit. I respected the fact that the president, when he was running as a former president for re-election, promised no new wars, right? We were all told that, no new wars. And I respected and admired that. I was like, okay, we were all part of forever war. Didn't want to see that shit again. Even though I did not vote for him, I supported that. So it's been weird to see friends on the right capitulate to, that this is the best thing ever. I didn't like the message that I saw on Truth Social, because I do follow the president on Truth Social, that, they were going to wipe away an entire civilization. I didn't like the reports that were unconfirmed from people within the administration that said that he acted like a petulant child and had to be removed from the fucking room because he was disturbing everything and couldn't get a hold of himself. I didn't like the other report that was unconfirmed saying that he wanted to actually get the codes for the nukes and do that thing, and the generals had to stop him and from doing that. I see now why my friends are nervous and scared, and he seems kind of just unhinged to me, like he's going with the direction of the wind, and I don't see that. I don't think that that's a fit commander in chief, to be honest. That's what I'm afraid of.
I agree with Robin. So he mentions the fact that the guys over there are feeling a little bit different. I think it's just different in righteousness, right? Like after 9/11, even though it was a false flag, the fact that we didn't know it, in my opinion, like we went over there, we believed we were righteous. It didn't even matter. Like, let's fucking go. And now what are they fighting for? So
a religious war, a holy war is what Hegseth told them.
Yeah, in a sense, they're fighting a religious war that they probably, many of them do not believe in. I don't care who you are, it's not your fight. So that'd be terrifying. And then on top of that, you see that all those locations not at the front have been hit. So there should be afraid. And if we have not been fortifying those positions for the last 20 years, every single one of the commanding officers that have been in charge of those locations for 20 years and failed to fortify them while they had GWAT money should be fucking brought out of retirement and demoted.
I like that. Okay.
You brought up Hegseth. Like, I think Hegseth has got to be a bigger problem. I really wanted to like him. I loved the whole underdog story that he had in the beginning, but just listening to that guy talk reminds me of whoever said the Titanic couldn't sink. No one.
Oh, yeah.
The level of arrogance of that guy just makes me think that he shouldn't be in the room anywhere near decision makers about wars and killing people.
All right. Well, the bromance between Charles and Pete Hegseth is over. You heard it here. Okay. So I'd like to make the points here that the broken campaign promise, obviously, the extreme left and right agree. Apparently, boomer Fox News Republican people like it still. So he's hanging by a thread there until something really bad happens. But, this broken campaign promise with the war and going all in with the Israelis is Dan Bilzerian is coming, if you know what I mean, if you've been watching him.
Huge fan.
Yeah, he might not win in wherever the hell he is in Florida, but one way or another, Dan Bilzerian is coming. So that is a direct result of this, what Trump has done here. The other thing that Robin mentioned was the nuclear rumor thing. Maybe a week or a week and a half ago, it all started with this. I looked into it. It started with a CIA type social media influencer guy that was reporting there was a meeting in the White House where Trump demanded the nuclear codes to launch a nuclear strike on Iran, and General Dan Kane said no, and then Dan walked out or whatever. Apparently, it all stemmed from that one guy. And I'm interested to know if it was true or not, but it seems to me not true because the rest of the media and the liberals haven't been able to find any corroboration on it, haven't really heard about it again. So it seems like it kind of just came from this guy, whether it's true or not. I don't think he would necessarily launch nuke at this phase of it here. I don't put it past him in the long run. I'm thinking that that didn't happen. Let's talk about Lebanon real quick. It seems like Mason mentioned the Israelis invaded about 40 kilometers into Lebanon, land grab, flatten the houses, push the people out, kill a lot of people. Hezbollah's fighting back. And what we're getting at this stage, what I'm hearing is that the Israelis are pulling at least some of the troops out because the Lebanese are using drones and the Israelis are taking losses, which you would expect. And when they invaded in 2006, they took heavy losses too. I mean, they haven't had a lot of success in southern Lebanon. We're getting some ambulance here. It seems like us and the Israelis are not ready for the FPV drone revolution here, the autonomous weapons. The Ukrainians seem to be the masters of this, and they've sent their experts into Saudi Arabia, probably in exchange for money to help protect Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states. Final point on that is just that our generals, leadership, politicians totally shit the bed on this, totally got left behind in the FPV drone thing, did not see the future of warfare, did not comprehend this technology, put essentially our allies and our friends at risk, our young people in uniform, because they're not ready to do this. And the evidence of that is that during Biden, they did the replicator program where they spent $250 million trying to get cheap drones. And now Pete Hegseth's new budget last year was 250 million. This year it's over $50 billion that they're trying to spend on drones now. I agree with them trying to play catch up on this. These leaders that we have, the officer system, the way leaders are picked, the groupthink, the collaboration with the defense industry is not working. And they've totally let us down. And we need changes. These people need to be fired. And we need young, innovative thinkers, people that are willing to take risks and get rid of the risk averse culture, because we have the weapons of yesterday, but we're spending a ton of money on them, which doesn't make sense.
I love that you pointed out that the Israelis, when they went from fighting encircled Gazans who have been disarmed, so basically disarmed women and children, to fighting an actual resistance force when they're trying to, again, conquer a people that have lived there for thousands of years. I guess the Israelis are saying that Lebanon was also promised to them 3,000 years ago. I guess they're having trouble when they're not fighting women and children who have no guns or weapons or food. They're having some difficulty.
They had trouble in Gaza too. I mean, tactically, their backs up against the sea. They basically just flooded the zone there and killed everybody. Lebanon is much different, much more powerful force. They haven't been successful against them in the past. They say, "Oh, we're going to disarm Hezbollah." Impossible. So you're basically just saying, we're going to go in to do whatever we want to do. It's interesting to see that Hezbollah is having success fighting back to some degree. So we'll just see what happens.
I just feel the only thing that comes to mind is that there seem to be two totally different incentives, where I see a lot of the conspiracy kind of along the lines of what Mason is saying, that we're backing Israel and we're completely sold on Israel and they own us. But I think that it's two totally different incentives. I think Israel is fighting a holy war and an existential war, and they seem to think that, and for some good reason, right? All these attacks that do happen in their country, but they're living very similar lives, seemingly, to a lot of these Muslim nations, where it's not as first world as it is here. I could be wrong about that, but that's what it seems like. Whereas we're more in it for the economic incentive. Everywhere we've gone, it seems to be tied to oil. It was that way with Iraq. It was weapons of mass destruction, and then suddenly they weren't there. And now we're in Iran. We're dealing with the Strait of Hormuz, which is like another issue with oil. And I think it all ties into energy, our energy needs, how I think Trump thinks purely about how we can make money for America and, have economic prosperity, which is a good incentive in some ways, and that's not good in other ways. So I think ultimately that's why he did break his promise not to go into any more wars. I don't think it was for nuclear purposes, and I don't know much about Lebanon. But
Charles, what do you think about the Israeli influence on this instigation of this whole thing?
They're one of our allies, and we seem to be tied pretty close with them. We're supposedly a Christian nation, and that's going to have the closest ties to Israel. I think that there is a bigger picture that comes down to a more ideological frame. The Muslim culture, definitely over there, and their ideology is not consistent with our value system, and they seem to want to overtake our value system. And so I think that there's, whether it's seen or not, there's a constant pressure applied from Muslims onto our culture. So I think that if we're going to go any way at all, if we have this extra incentive for oil, and we have our ally over there being attacked by Hezbollah, and now we're in a little fight with them, it doesn't take much more gasoline or oil.
Thank you. To Charles's point, it is about money. If you read The Art of the Deal, the whole thing's about money, as are his other books. Definitely about oil. I think it's probably true that he's been manipulating the stock market with some of this. And certainly Don Jr. has this crazy contract now for all the drones. You know what I mean? No bid contract. That's insane to me. I would push back on us being a Christian nation. Obviously, there's lots of different religions in the country. I just really dislike this tilt toward Christian nationalism, and that Hegseth said specifically, in so many words, this is our holy war here. And then I see evangelicals saying that, we're going to bring about the end times, and they're all excited about this. That is some crap to me. I mean, no, I don't want that. I want my kids to grow up and live their best lives. I don't want to bring about the fucking end times right now. I mean, not that I even believe in that crap, even though I am a deacon and elder at my church, but I'm going off on a tangent here. It's just
okay.
No, you're absolutely right though. That's not of the Christian belief, and what Hegseth says and what Trump said. Even Trump said, and every Christian should have heard this, is even he said, "I don't think I'm getting into heaven."
Yeah, he did say that.
They should have listened to that. They should have heard that, and they should have recognized that he's not following Christian values. Going to war is not necessarily a Christian value, and everything Hegseth says is in complete misalignment with those. The Christian faith has to be, whether you call it a Christian nation or not, you still have to be tolerant of and accepting of other people in your society. Otherwise, we're just going back to the Crusades. And once again, not Christian values. So,
Amen. And that was what Tucker Carlson said. I know Tucker Carlson. I was on his show 19 times. It was interesting when he said that very thing, that this is not Christian. And that this is going back to, I think, when he was, what was that thing when he made that AI thing about being Jesus?
oh,
I don't know. There was another one yesterday, or just this morning, apparently, that he
there was
deleted.
nothing
It
about
was
a doctor
healing
in the-
Epstein. He's a
Yeah.
healer.
Oh, God.
I thought it was a doctor. No, you didn't. You think of yourself as the savior. That's
I
pretty
think
clear.
what John has a really good point is the fact that we have to really think about the value structure of these individuals. And it's not just a Christian simplicity as it might have been in the 1800s, where even those people might necessarily have been like Christians. And what is a Christian in a sense? Because there's so many different denominations. But Trump is clearly an Israeli. That's what we know, in my opinion. And it's a shame. And so you have to look at all of his decisions through that lens. And he's doing everything he can to help the greater Israel, and he's doing nothing to help greater America, in my opinion, based off the news reports that I see. And the final thought that none of us mentioned, including myself, it was in my notes, but it was at the bottom. I thought it was going to be the next topic. You can tell that Trump doesn't give a fuck about America or has no interest in actually ending this war with Iran, and he's only using it for his own personal gain by who is the delegation he has sent to negotiate peace. And he has sent Jared Kushner and some other douchebag who have only Israeli desires to conquer the state of Iran. And when you send those two individuals to lead American negotiations, there is no chance of peace. Any statement by Trump or his administration stating that they are seeking peace is just a straight up bullshit lie.
All right. Raise your hand if you think this is not going well.
I'd raise my feet if I
Charles thinks
could.
it's going pretty well. All right.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure. So when you brought up Jared Kushner, I don't know the details on that. But I think of Trump and his folk as like pseudo imperialists. They want control. They don't want to own. They don't want to necessarily make Venezuela and Iran a part of the United States, but we want to control their economics. So
But we want Canada and Greenland. No new wars, but we're going to take over those territories too.
we'll take them.
Greenland's a strategic location for missile defense.
Yeah, I know. Let's not even go off on that.
Sorry.
I want to talk about AI in the military. Just to recap what's going on, there's several major AI companies. They're all kind of trying to gather as much revenue as they can. They want to get money from the government. The government's spending a ton of money on the military and on AI. XAI, Elon Musk's thing, and OpenAI have already signed deals with the government saying that they can use their models in classified environment. Google just signed a deal, which is notable because historically Google's left wing, highly educated type of employees have rebelled against that in the past. But it seems like they have a deal, and the military is feuding with Anthropic because Anthropic got mad after Venezuela operation. They don't want their models used for autonomous weapons and mass surveillance. So essentially, all these companies, these three companies, have a contract with the government where their models can be used by the government, and that they will not be used for mass surveillance or autonomous weapons, although none of the companies has the ability to stop the government from using the model once it's kind of in production. It's kind of like they have a rule, but rules are meant to be broken.
Mason, this was built for you.
Oh, I got one for that right now, if you don't mind. So you just pointed out the fact that, Google used to not want to kill people and now they're okay with killing people. That shows the immigration collapse of America and the demographic change and the value structure and the fact that the H-1B program needs to be fucking ended. Because what have they done? They basically got rid of the entire value structure of Don't Be Evil from Google and imported fucking Indians who are willing to kill anyone. Because again, the people that they're bringing in are Brahmin Indians who believe that their word is the word of God and anything they say is immediately the word of God and should be followed. What you just pointed out is an exact demonstration of the moral collapse and degradation of America as a result of the State Department's bad fucking policies in the last 20 years.
We need to adapt, improvise, and overcome, right? So we have to, this is a changing world. We have to adapt to AI. It's not going anywhere. Now, granted, I don't want the world completely covered with data centers. I don't like that it can be abused, that they say that, once it's released, once the military uses this, they have no control over what we do with it. Look at the Patriot Act, other things like that. You know what I mean? Like, we know this is going to get abused by our military. We'll spy on our own people with it and use this against our own people. So proceed with caution is all I have to say.
I have a slightly different perspective. I work with a lot of people in India. The majority of them are Hindu. And so they're very mostly peaceful and not interested in conflict at all. So that's interesting. At some point, I have to research and learn more about what the Brahmin Indians you're talking about. I think that Google, Anthropic, OpenAI, they've achieved a level of capabilities with their models that the people who would have railed against any sort of government contract are becoming less and less relevant in their organization, because it used to be that would be primarily the developers, right? The Cheeto eating fat bodies who never have to leave their dark rooms, of which I can understand and was a part of, but they don't need them anymore. I have agents running coding for me all day long, and so Google won't need those people if they don't agree. Google is, if I understand correctly, they're a publicly traded company, and so they're always going to be profit centric, which means they have to compete, and the government was going to get this technology one way or the other. I think it's inevitable, and I think that where we're going is inevitable. It's all just part of a big feedback loop. AI is a technology that's changing the world, going to change the world, and we definitely want to maintain our military might. So I'm all about it. I think we should do even more of it. If we can send robots to be destroyed rather than our families to be killed. My little brother's in the Army. He just got back from Korea. He's in Texas, and he was just spun up to deploy to Poland a couple months ago. Luckily, that got shut down. But if they can send a drone in his place or a robot in his place, then please do that. That drone isn't going to suffer from PTSD or remember its limbs being blown off, but my little brother will.
My personal perspective on it is coming from the government side of things, I don't think that these California companies, even the Elon Musk company, can be trusted. I personally think the military should develop its own AI or at least have parallel programs, because they can pull the plug whenever they want. Just like if you have a business, you build a business relying on Google or whatever, and they make a change, your business is gone. So our enemies are going to have this stuff. We need it. We should have had it 5 years ago. Of course, we didn't, because the people in charge of military AI have been trash. Hopefully, that is changing. They're bringing in some of these tech people who worked in tech, putting them directly in the military as lieutenant colonels. They're wieners and not actually military people. They're wearing a military uniform, whatever, satisfying whatever cosplay airsoft fantasies that they have, not going through basic training. So they're not really part of the military, but
Kid Rock giving speeches on the Strait of Hormuz.
yeah.
We can all come together around that shitty idea.
I like Kid Rock. I'm a fan.
Those are the lieutenant colonels that all the enlisted people hated, right?
This is the end of the show, so we all have a chance to say one last thing. Mason probably wants to go last since he wants to make a bang.
Ultimately, I'm excited and hopeful for the future. All these things that are happening are scary, but they're not new, and they've been happening since the beginning of time. The thing that is new is all of the technology that's being developed, whether it's the artificial intelligence that's going to be taking over labor, whether it's the medical advancements. Like, we're in a great time, a great era, and it's going to be great for our military. It's going to be great for our citizens. And I just think that we have to get through the hardships and the conflicts that are going to be created by it. And then on the other side of that, I'm very excited what it means for my children.
I think that we are, in some respects, in the golden era of AI. It's all really cheap right now. You should start using it and get familiar with it, because it's going to be the future, and it will be expensive at some point. So that's what I told my children, who I've got a little boy genius on the autism spectrum who was very reluctant. I was like, you're going to have to learn how to use this. I had an uncle that was reluctant to start using email in the 90s and got fired. I was like, you're going to have to learn how to use AI in your job. And our military will have to learn how to use it also. I just want safeguards. Yeah, I agree. It's an exciting time for our future. The midterms are right around the corner. There's a lot of crap, a lot of rhetoric right now. Pew Research still tracks congressional polling. It is at a record low, 20-year low. It's at 16% approval rating right now. I'll be interested to see, I think it's anyone's guess really, where the Senate goes come the midterms. And don't believe a lot of the bullshit rhetoric that you're going to be hearing from now until the midterms. These people have to raise money every 2 years, Congress people, to stay elected. So it's just whatever they can throw at the wall to earn more money. That's what you're dealing with.
What approval was it? 16%?
Activate, Mason.
Profit-centered stuff, that is a really interesting bullshit statement about capitalism, but in the end, there's going to be incentives for people to just manipulate things. So just saying that something is created through competition doesn't mean shit anymore, because there's so much manipulation into the incentive structure. The generals, I think, John, you always start how much you hate generals, and I think that's the most important thing for the future, and it's absolutely terrifying because, again, Donald Trump, he's going to be not just replacing the SCOTUS judges and all the federal judges that he wants to do in the Department of Justice, he's going to be replacing the generals with the guys who are going to be loyal to Eric Trump, are going to suck his dick to make sure that he gets the drone contracts that they want. And so our entire future is going to be related to basically who can placate Trump children the most. And that's fucking terrifying, because neither one of those looks like they have any idea of how to engineer a drone or how to write the software for the drone. Yet our entire national defense is going to be contingent on their abilities to create products and defend us. We are so completely fucked. if people normalize and realize that the Hindus aren't our enemy, we don't have to kill them all, and the Hindus can look at American white Christians and say, hey, the American white Christians aren't our enemy, we don't have to kill them all, then world peace could actually fucking happen, and AI could help make that happen because it brings everybody together. The real thing that has to happen to make that happen, again, I'm not saying anything violent, is those old fucking boomers have to all fucking die. Why? Because they have the old value structure and they haven't been exposed. By the time they were 50, the internet didn't even exist. And so they still believe that every single other person is their enemy and needs to die, and they need to create Lebensraum for their people. And that's fucking bullshit.
Okay, all right. Well, I was wondering how Mason was going to follow up on the I hope all the astronauts die.
No, the final thing would be, the last thing would be the Epstein list needs to be revealed.
Hell yeah.
And the Epstein. Okay. All right. Finished up it was pretty boring in the beginning, but you finished up pretty strong there, Mason. Thank you. All right. Well, that was a good show. Real Veteran News 55. Thank you, Charles, Robin, and Mason. And we'll try to do another one next week. So thanks for watching. Bye.